Hello everybody, and welcome to a video that I didn't want to make. I managed to stuff my Bixler version 1.1 into a tree. So I was flying along, I just lost the video picture, I attempted to blind fly it, and it all went wrong. I had a 4000 mAh battery instead of the regular 2200 I was used to, so it didn't climb as well, and anyway, blind flying isn't a brilliant idea, and it basically hit the top of a tree. So we got down there. It was going to be my last flight of the day, which is probably, good things never happen on the last flight of the day. And when we got there, there was no chance that we were going to get out of the tree. What we found on the floor was this wing. So that's a new dent. And there's some quite heavy marking on the top. That connector's had a good hard knock. This is already broken off many times, so that wasn't new. And also you can see that the carbon fibre tube has had a good old whack. Just other than that knock, this was already from another accident. Well used, this plane. What other bits were on the ground at that time? There was that. And there was that. This obviously being that wingtip. This being the tip off of the other wing. But this was all that was on the ground on the first night. And because it was getting dark, we decided that the best thing we could do, because we had no way of getting it out of the tree, was come back the next day. Because the fuselage was in the tree, as well as the other bit of the left-hand wing. The fuselage was really near the top. As I say, no chance that we could have done anything. The wing was slightly lower, just stuck on top of a branch, and I expected that would probably come down in the night. So day 2, if we count the actual accident as day 1, when I arrived, I went in the morning, and the rest of the other wing was on the floor. It had come down. And sadly it was dewy that morning, so there was moisture on cars and things, and there was a lot of moisture on the back of this wing where it had fallen. That's an old ding, you can see the glue in it. That's new. The way we found the plane in the tree was the fact that I kept spinning the motor up and down, so it possibly took that out the tree. I'm not sure it took that out on flying into the tree, because it flew into the tree at full throttle, or it was from me trying to start it. This also got bent up, as you can see. This also hadn't ripped off at that side. You can see I've added some glue there to strengthen it before, but this is new. And this wingtip had never been off before. So that's a new ding. That's a new ding. And this servo, if I show you the two servos, you can see the Savox logo coming from this one. Where if I show you the two, so hopefully you can see the top one, which was the one that was in the tree for a night. You can see through to the gold bronze underneath a lot easier than the one which I picked up on the night. So this has dried out. That seems to be working alright. This is the one I picked up on the day. Also seems fine, although the wire looks a little damaged. Nothing that's that hard to remedy. So I came back later in the day, had something to do around midday with my dad as reinforcement, and we couldn't make a pole. We used 2 different fishing poles, 4 different that we used for racing flags for the 250 racing, and a length of drain pipe, and we couldn't either build something long enough, or it was so long that it just sort of flapped about in the breeze a little bit and was useless. So we had to abandon it for the night. So now we're going on to day 3, and the wind and rain has come. And it was horrible. It was 50-mile-an-hour plus winds. Not a lot we could do. We'd brought a ladder and another friend of ours to help, but it just wasn't safe to go up the ladder. You couldn't do anything. My dad did go up the ladder, but all he could concentrate on was making sure he didn't fall off of it, and it doesn't matter what the plane is, there's no plane worth people breaking legs or worse, paralysed, death. it really was not that pleasant. On the day that I went back, so back to day 2, I found out that the fuselage was stuck in the tree by the motor pod, not by the tailplane. So there was no sort of chuck something over and pull at it. It was fast in the tree. It needed to be punched from underneath, because it was just sort of facing straight down. On the windy day when we got back to it, the tail and rudder, the tailplane and the fin were stuck together, but were off of the fuselage. And basically it was hung in the tree by the elevator horn. You know, the fuselage was the elevator, the fin, the tailplane was stuck in the branches, and it was the rest of the plane, the fuselage was swinging underneath by the elevator horn. So we decided that probably in this strong wind it will eventually come down. So we left again, just the horrible weather. I went up again early morning today. Crack, it feels like so long ago. And the fuselage was on the ground. So here is the fuselage of my Bixler. As you can tell, there's some bits missing here. Sadly, in the wind, the tailplane did get blown away. I did find half of the elevator, but the tail fin and the tailplane have gone. Well, I've got a rudder and half an elevator, but the fuselage itself is fine. You know, even though it dropped out of a tree. It's still wet. That's why I decided to do this video at 3:10 in the morning, so I can get the electronics out of it. So as soon as I got there, I unplugged the battery. I generally haven't even buried inside. I've gone inside here. Oh yes, things are wet. You can see the shine on that. I'm going to presume this is completely flat. Hope it doesn't go off in my hands. Wow, that's so flat it doesn't even light up the beeper. That's good. Wow, it's wet inside the connectors. Luckily they didn't touch because it's one of these connectors. So that I might stick in a lipo bag actually, for safekeeping. So we've got the camera. That, to be honest, feels dry. The canopy feels very wet. Alright, I have grabbed some screwdrivers and a dish. Let me disconnect this. Yeah, the plane is definitely wet inside. Take the camera off the... Oh. I think I got these wires through by taking that connector off, but it doesn't really matter for now. All I want to do is, there is some rust on the back of here. As I say, luckily it was up the tree for well over 24 hours before rain came. There was moisture overnight. Yeah, it doesn't look like anything has got inside of there. That looks nice and fresh. This is a run cam, an older style run cam. There you are, you can see the run cam logo on there. So that's good. Let's not put it in the metal dish. Doesn't matter about the wood. Okay, let's see what else is in this fuselage. Oh, that's really annoying. The the receiver is wet. That is very annoying because they are fairly expensive. Yeah, that is wet. As well. So if you ever wanted to know what was inside a 4-channel long-range receiver, there you are. Again, doesn't look like anything's given up the ghost on it. The back of the board, it feels more like dew more than anything. So again, what I'll try and find, I have a run cam box. I'll put all of the what else have we got? Yeah, like these wires are wet. With it being hung pointing vertically down at the tree, I think this motor will be knackered. I know it's got water in it. This U-Beck, come on screen, they're so cheap, I'll probably just get rid. So this is just the wire lead for the wing. It's one of these things I'm probably better just chucking them out so I don't risk them on another plane. Under here there is a magical door that leads to some servos which are wet. I believe possibly a lot of water came through this hole when my antenna was stuck through. And of course, well, I suppose we've got that hole there that I made for the transmitter wire. So yeah, these servos are wet. I'm probably just going to leave them out to air, but I want to get in on these wires. Pull the speed controller back so I can disconnect it. I can feel water dripping on my foot. That's fantastic. Wow, they're really wet. You can see. Okay. So the video transmitter is something else I'm worried about. I hope the antenna broke off after it had powered down well. It is incredibly mucky. The button feels a bit squidgy. Like this plane smells of soil from sitting on the forest floor for an evening. Can I get in with yes? I don't particularly want to stick it in the magnetic tray. Come on. So that's the wire lead. That goes to the 3-cell battery. One goes to camera, one goes to your video transmitter. If you don't know how the simple wire lead solution for FPV works. Alright, so taking that apart took a lot longer than I thought. And what's really surprising is I've always seen these large ones and they've always been very annoying because they're extra weight, extra bulky. I much preferred the old, smaller type you could get from BevRC and the like before they disappeared off the face of the planet. But it turns out when you eventually manage to remove this thing and get into this metal box, it's the same thing. That sort of goes in there, and then you've got these 3 space plates, one of which is bent to take up more room to actually fit. So it's one of the old regular, all they've done is added this giant case for more heatsink and possibly to make it look better. So I'm actually really happy, because what it means is it was, until recently, very hard to find these very small, or relatively small, shall I say. Obviously, I do like these, and they sort of disappeared a little bit. Another thing it means is because as soon as I took the back off, it wasn't straight into circuitry. While this is a bit damp on the back, there is nothing inside. If you ever wonder what's inside one of these, there you are. So that is some electronics. And go on the electronics. Speed controller. In all honesty, for what they cost, that might get binned as well. Beck definitely will, because the thing is, if a speed controller dies, you've always got the Beck to land the plane with the servos. So I'll stick them in there. That can also go in there. There's some just general cabling. And then we've got this, put again to the motor. Yeah, the motor is definitely wet. In fact, there's a screw here from somewhere. Where the hell has that come from? First of all, that motor has got a fair amount of... Thanks for that screen. The motor has got a fair amount of sort of glue on the inside of it. So this is an Aerostar 1860 kV. It is very wet. Yeah, as I say, I'm not sure if you can see, but there's actually a screw in that hole there, and a screw missing from there. But that is a different type of screw. So that is interesting. That could actually be a screw from a canopy also. That sounds a bit rough. Oopsie daisy. Maybe a bit of tree or whatever in there. So yeah, the only thing that's left in here now are two servos that are wet, and this motor which is wet. I'm just going to leave them to air out. To be honest, everything on the inside looks dry. So what I'm probably going to do is, once I finish recording, lay everything out and leave it to dry properly. Stuff like this motor, it's so cheap, it wasn't the most powerful thing anyway. So, and these servos, that's the last original servo. The ailerons and the elevator all broke getting things out of trees. But that servo still lives, gear-wise. So actually, I am fairly happy with how well this has survived. It's sad that I can't repair it. As I say, in the wind, the tailplane disappeared. So I'm a little bit knackered in that respect. So, you know, the fuselage is still solid. At least, no less solid than it was previously. I'm just glad I didn't strengthen the elevator, because if I'd have strengthened the elevator, it would have never come out of the tree. So, there's nothing obvious. It doesn't look like anything shorted out from rain, so hopefully the battery had run flat before any major moisture got in. I think most of the wet that's inside has come from the rain, because it's hard to show, but that hole does go straight into the fuselage, because it's where the video transmitter wire went. So, fingers crossed, I'll make sure everything is fully dried out, and then I'll plug stuff in and see what works. So yes, this is the story and the sort of investigation of parts after I stuck my Bixler one in a tree for, well, it was 1 night, 2 nights, 3 nights, 4 days. Over 50-mile-an-hour winds, a lot of rain, a lot of me slipping and sliding around, looking for bits of foam when it came out of the tree, got my car stuck at one point. Hell happened to get, sadly not all of it back, which is slightly annoying. I generally couldn't think of much to do. I was annoyed at that I felt defeated, and in a way I still do, because I can't find the tail section. But hopefully, whenever I get around to editing this, I might even be able to let you know if all this stuff still works. Airframe, probably not. But I've got a twin star that I'm repairing, that the FPV stuff can go in. And I might get something small for more tree darting, such as maybe an S800 flying wing or a mini Sky Hunter, something like that. I would buy another one of these, which is important, because I have also had an AXN, Clouds Fly Floater Jet, whatever you want to call it, and I wouldn't get another one of those because the foam was too crappy. But like, look, this foam has had so many crashes, it's still solid. There's tape but there's no added carbon fibre at all. The only thing I ever added carbon fibre wise is instead of the like that long, I'm not sure if it's in camera because the screen's gone off, you know, sort of that long piece of carbon fibre, I put a 75cm long piece in, which has sadly really bitten the dust. I think this might be the second tube this has had from very fast ploughings into many things. 4th tree this plane has been in. Every tree different. 1 I landed in the top because I ran a battery. 2 I landed in the top because of battery. And then this was actually the second flight after I went for a tree and smacked one wingtip and it just shot sideways into the ground. So it had a hard life, but it fared well. I would definitely buy another one. When they go on sale at the moment, they're a bit expensive. I got this with the motor and the servos for £45 because I remember it was like £52 shipped from the UK warehouse, and I'd received £50 for a Christmas present or something, or Christmas or birthday, I can't remember. So I bought this with it and actually went to that person's house to show it them, and sort of say thank you in person. This is what I have purchased. But now they're like £80 delivered. They would be, which is not just the dollar or the pound, should I say, falling out of all comprehension, really. So yeah, I would buy another one of these. I've got something to replace this sort of immediately in the future that won't be used for the same thing, and in the future I will replace it with something for tree diving, because I bought this plane knowing I was going to crash it, and I am incredibly happy that for your first FPV plane, I would say, I'm going to put myself on a limb here, get the Bixler 1.1 over the XN Cloudfly, because an XN would not have survived as well as this. So anyway, yes, thank you for watching. Give it a like if you enjoyed. Leave any comments, questions, feedback in the comments section down below. Subscribe if you're new, like, something like that. Anyway, yes, see you all in the next one. Bye bye. I'll go and get some sleep. It's 3:30 in the morning.